Okay, so again, it's going to be Prank Kids against Tri Brigade. Then, do you think the die roll actually has a strong impact in this matchup, or?
As we've seen a lot during our last remote duel invitational in March, we have seen that the die roll could have been relevant, but even if some players went second, especially in this format that a lot of entraps are being played, I think it is an advantage, but not an incredible one.
Absolutely, and we already see Matthieu going first and summoning the Meow Meow, which is crucial. So now on the Roxys, it will depend whether Jake has an entrap. He plays a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like Gamma, Ash. Also, we see players siding Schoolmeister for the same reason, but let's see whether he will be able to stop him. It doesn't seem so, and this means that any normal summoner Prank Kids is enough to really guarantee you a great and strong start.
I think in this during this weekend we will see a different approach by players because during our last remote duel invitational a lot of traps were played instead of end traps, and right now a lot of players are actually relying on the full package, playing a rage that goes from 12 to 15 hand traps usually, but doesn't seem like Jake has any answer to.
No, it seems like he will allow for now his opponent to go off. And as mentioned, this is just the standard combo. When you have a Link 1, you can go into Prank Kids Meow Meow and then go into Doodoo Doodle, which gives you just such an incredible advantage. And just like, as you mentioned, we see with Dinka Bui for the first time in YCS Milan, this deck basically just aims at out-resourcing your opponent, because any 1-for-1 is a good thing for this deck because you can just outvalue them really easily. So solid stuff.
I also like the fact that Prank Kids actually showed up year after year stronger than ever, I would say, because at the beginning was like a sort of deck that nobody was expecting, but right now is not only very popular, but it's very good competing against the deck that has to be beaten, which is Tri Brigade for the weekend.
Yeah, so now the setup, again, you can do quite a lot of things, but with Roxys, usually you send the Pandemonium. That way you have a quick fusion during your opponent turns. And you can already see Jake doesn't look that happy. Although Prank Kids is quite solid, it wasn't really that popular during the YCS. And maybe Jake just prepare for other matchups.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, I think the hand traps that very hurt a lot this deck might be Ash Blossom in the very first turn or Schoolmeister. Okay, comes the bell.
And now the bell comes down, which is a great way to stop the advantage, as you can see here on the screen. So great read here from Jake, but will this be enough to stop Matthieu completely? I'm not quite sure. Looking at this hand, it seems like he has the one copy of Thunder Dragon Fusion, which is a really innovative idea, I would say, for the deck. Most of our duelists this weekend are using it, and the reason why is that you can send it with the Anaconda, so it's definitely a decent choice.
Yeah, I really like this approach because if you draw it or you just you can pass with Anaconda. It's just an advantage that you really want to take in the duel. So
yeah. So again, we see a Link 2 coming down thanks to the pranks. One of the most important setup cards for Prank Kids, just because not only does he allow you to special summon a token, but during the end phase you just get a never-ending flow of resources coming back into your deck.
I think it's Matthieu's pretty much done. He has the quick spell, and
yeah, the bell definitely hurt, and now he was forced to change into the Bow Wow. So
okay, activated the Roxys. Yeah,
gonna banish one, draw one, and probably. Yeah, he will just set up with the Pandemonium for next turn. Let's see if he wants to extend even more. Again, it's one of those decks where you can really play it defensively or you can try and continue. And he's doing it. So here comes the one copy of Thunder Dragon Fusion. Now Jake, if he's not super comfortable with the deck, might be thinking, what's happening here?
It's pretty good. I mean, if you hard draw it, you can just activate it, and it gives you a huge advantage. And on the other hand, with Anaconda, you can just abuse. I think Anaconda is one of the best Link monster at the moment, and pretty much every deck can play it. So then comes the Butler, and this is another problem for Jake to deal with.
Absolutely, this is one of the crucial end game cards for the deck. Essentially a walking Raigeki. So.
Yeah. And let's now see, okay, I think he's going to the end phase to activate the prank, and he can shuffle back 3 to draw 1 card.
Yeah, and again, here is why this deck is considered so good. But again, I'm thinking here whether the decision to play Bell might hurt Jake in the long run. If there was another Entrap, maybe a Schoolmeister, it could really have stopped completely Matthieu. Because if you stop the first Prankits, then they need a couple extenders, and it's not that easy, so...
Yeah, I think at the very beginning, if you have the correct hand trap, you can stop your opponent. Here, the Bell was okay, but yeah, it didn't really hurt Matthieu that much.
Yeah, and now, again, Jake has quite a few possible plays to make. He's obviously gonna try and play around some Entraps, but if no Entrap is there for Matthieu, maybe the Butler alone is not enough. So,
yeah, I think he needs to deal with the Butler and hoping that Matthieu doesn't have one headshot to stop him. So, also because especially Tri-Brigade can play with the Graveyard, so it's very good.
Okay, and he starts really strong with the first Tri-Brigade card for the weekend, but definitely not the last. He sends the kit, now the Nerval, and he just gets the usual start. He can add the Keras, most likely. The only show-off in his deck, yeah. So usual start from Jake, but he needs a little more to be able to force his opponent. Let's see whether he goes for the Keras, special summoning it, and then trying and force out his opponent Butler. That's all he needs to care. I don't think he can afford to play around Entraps that much.
No, yeah, exactly. I think you have to... I think the only issue at the moment Jake has to do with is the Butler. And then if he has another Entrap, it's fine, but the main problem here is the Butler itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can see here he's thinking quite hard about the move, and he does have a Rescue Cat, so this is big. Because here, as mentioned, his opponent is forced to activate the Butler. He will banish the Meow Meow to pay for the cost. But now Jake has 4 monsters in graveyard, which means that if the Keras hits the field, he can banish 4 and bring out the Omen, which could be able to deal with some of Matthieu's resources. So yeah. I'm definitely curious to see whether he's able to push that much. If not, maybe again you will see the dichotomy whether some players argue that you should just concede and not reveal your deck type to prevent your opponent from siding, but it seems like Jake does have a few plays.
Yeah, especially because, as we mentioned earlier, Jake has a lot of experience, and as we know, most of the pro players, let's say, usually concede game 1 if they see that nothing can be done, in order not to show their opponent in their deck. Looks like Jake has still some solution.
Yeah. So let's see if he goes for the Keras right away. It seems like the most obvious plan, and it is. So what is he going to discard? Another Nerval. And now it's all on Matthieu if he has another Entrap to just completely lock Jake. Or he's just gonna use the Butler again.
Okay.
And here you can see why the Meow Meow is such a strong card. Usually the Butler wouldn't be able to do anything here, and now it seems like Jake just doesn't have enough. Maybe he didn't think about the Meow Meow, but that's the thing. The Meow Meow has a second effect in Grave, which is you can banish it and just pay the cost of one of your Prankits cards, and this is looking rough. He can activate the Bow Wow to get Shu back, and the advantage, as for most games of Prankits, to be fair, is getting out of hand real quick.
And this is why Prankits has become one of these decks that is very hard to beat, you know, because with the Meow Meow you can basically abuse of your Fusion and Link monster effects.
Yeah, so now Matthieu is playing around one of the few traps that Jake might be holding. Um, what would you expect? I mean, it's most likely the revolt.
Like maybe an impermanence just because
Yeah.
he's set in the same zone of prank, but yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have a revolt,
But yeah, I don't
here,
think impermanence is possible
exactly, yeah.
because I'm pretty sure Jake would
Yeah,
have used it
definitely.
on the Butler
Yeah.
right away. So it should be the revolt. We can mention that Jake is maining Imperial Order, so that's also a possibility. Or just a bluff, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think Matthieu is going to buy any bluffs, so he's gonna try his best to play around the Omen Engrave. That can be summoned thanks to the revolt. But again, the advantage is really high, and even the small burn is annoying because every turn there is this 1500 life point difference that Prankits do for free, which can actually be game winning because sometimes even if they can't stop their opponents, they might be at 10,000, and then it's difficult to even kill them in one turn. So.
And especially from our previous experience, we've seen that usually games with prank kids usually last quite a few times, especially because the combos takes quite some time, and it's not easy to deal with this deck, you know.
Yeah, and he gets another Pandemonium with the Doodle. This means either he can even try to push with the Access Talker, but I really struggle to see a way of Jake coming out of this game one.
Yeah, I think the only card Matthieu can think of at the moment maybe could be a revolt from Jake's side.
Yeah, but even if
Yeah,
the revolt comes down, it banishes one of your guys, but
that's not a big deal.
yeah, it shouldn't be too much to handle. Okay, so the Doodle activates. Thinking about a response from Jake, but it doesn't happen. So he gets back even 2 more resources, and I think he has like an 8 and
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah, I think now Matteo only really needs to think about what is the best solution at this spot, because I have a lot of resources. So
yeah.
okay, comes the
Wow,
time.
and even desires. So if that wasn't enough, he even activates desire, and you can see the look on Jake's face. Unfortunately, being quite unhappy with what's going on here.
Yeah, because at the moment Matteo has basically used most of his resources, and he has everything he needs in the graveyard as well. Looks it's looking good for Matteo.
Yeah, he seems confident as well, which is always something you like to see. As mentioned, both of these guys had to play through the qualifiers to get here, and there is a good chance that Mathieu did it with the same deck. Therefore, he's quite experienced with Prankids, and by the way he's playing, I would say so. Again, some cheap damage coming out, so 500 damage for Jake. Yeah, banish 1, draw 1.
Yeah, I think now Matteo can just consider if he wants to push some more damage or just establish a field that can cause Jake more trouble, especially in his next turn. I think he cannot push for enough for damage, right?
We can take a look at this extra deck, but I think he plays... Yeah, he doesn't really play any Link 4. He only plays Access Code, which isn't that ideal right now, but let's see if he wants to go for it. Some players are using Appaloosa, which can be also quite annoying to deal with.
Would you go for Unicorn in this turn, just in case, you know, to get rid of Jake's set?
I mean, it's not ideal, and I think he's going to do it with the token, but he has just so many cards that he can afford it. Yeah. So the Unicorn comes down, and now it's all or never for now or never for Jake. Ooh, and he even activates one of the touch cards in Matthieu deck, which is the Parallel Exceed. Definitely an interesting card, and it's there mostly because, as you can see, if you open a Prankids, it's all you need to combo off, and it chain blocks any possible end traps from your opponent. So it's an interesting card.
Yeah, I think this is a card that we don't see very often, but it's a very good touch. So well played here by Matthieu. I think he wants to push.
He didn't activate
I didn't activate
it.
Unicorn.
So he now goes for the access code as expected. And yeah. Wow, there is a bell from Matthieu, so that seems like it's going to be enough. Yeah, Jakes just picks up his card, so congratulations Matthieu on game 1. So the first player who wins a game this weekend, again a French player, Matthieu, with his Prankids deck. I gotta say, quite convincingly, there was really not a single moment in which Jake seemed he could come back. And now Jake, once again, he's back against the wall, trying his best to stay alive in this remote duel invitational. I'm sure it would hurt a lot for him to just get kicked out once again that soon. But he's gonna try his best, and looking at the side deck, what do you think he is gonna bring in?
So considering that it's not an easy matchup to play against the Prankids deck, I think the Jake can maybe side in the Nibiru. He doesn't have that much against Prankids looking at his side deck, especially because he's going first. I don't think that he's going to over side decking. But looking at his side deck, I think that Nibiru is the only one I would side in.
Yeah, I gotta say, if we compare the side decks, I am worried for Jake. He doesn't seem like he prepared that much against his opponent deck. Sure, he can easily go for the Red Eyes Fusion, but that's not necessarily enough, and it will be tough for him. While Matthieu prepared really well, he has some good side deck choices like Forbidden Droplets, which do not target. So therefore he can deal even with the Red Eyes Fusion. I don't know, I gotta say I want to give it to Matthieu more, even going after the side deck. And he has some interesting cards for going first, which if we ever see a game 3, then we can maybe talk about. And we don't want to reveal them yet, because we might see Matthieu later on, and then we want to see those that card in action.
Yeah, I think as we mentioned earlier, most of the players were ready to play against Tribe Brigade because it's the deck to be beaten. And considering that Prankids, I don't want to say he's the underdog, but he doesn't have to be underrated, because as we see in this game 1, he can do a lot of things, and he can make a lot of players a lot of problems, you know. So
yeah, I think, like, as always, as ever since the Dinka played it, it gives me the idea of a deck that it's just hard to beat. Maybe it doesn't necessarily win so easily or that quickly, but it just struggles to lose. And this is a strategy we also saw at the at the football cup. It's something that in every sport, in every situation, can apply. When sometimes you're that defensive that you don't necessarily win that much, but you're going to just make it a struggle for your opponent to win. And if that's the case, by the way, Prankids has an additional advantage, which is if time runs out, then it has so many ways to just change the life points and win in time. So I gotta say, it's one of those decks you really don't want to play against, and there is not even that much you can do unless you really prepare hard for it with like Schoolmeister and a lot of those end traps.
Yeah, I really like Prankids, especially because it is like a control deck and a combo deck at the same time. So you have so many options to do available, and with just one card at the moment, you can bring out the Meo Meo and cause your opponent a lot of problems. So we'll see if now Jake opens up with the good end.
Yeah, so let's see. This is going to be the game 2. And it could be the last end of the tournament already for Jake. But going first, we know the Tri-Brigade is probably one of the most consistent decks across the format. There are multiple ways to start things off and even go for the nice combo that Jake has. And the start is the same as game 1, but Matthieu seems to have a response. He does. So Ash Blossom already negating his opponent Tri-Brigade Fractal. So does Jake have something else? Would you waited for another? I mean, I guess you risk it because then if they have a Tri-Brigade, they can just use it. And this is the case. So the normal summon Nerval will be used to link into the Almirage, and this way you can activate it to get the Keras most likely. So
yeah, I think activating Ash on the very first Tri-Brigade is a risk, because if your opponent has like another extender like Jake had, okay, he has also tanky.
Yeah, he has also the tanky. So well played by Jake. Some players would have just started right away with the tanky maybe, and they miss. Your opponent is not that likely to use the Ash. So he gets another Fractal, and here we can see a lot of different options. So the deck is able to usually end on a Revolt, but the field can look quite different. If you focus on it, you can end on an Appaloosa, which honestly sounds like a really good idea against Prankids.
I think Appaloosa is like it can hurt a lot Prankids, especially because they rely on monsters. So I think now Jake has the right spot to summon the Appaloosa. I mean, if Matthieu doesn't have any other traps, so we'll see.
He can have, you know, Appaloosa, Revolt, and still hold quite a few cards. So it's only up to Jake whether he thinks that's a good idea. To be honest, there are a few side deck cards that can't punish him. First of all, Forbidden Droplet, of course. But there are also other side deck choices, and Mind Control, for example, is a card that we've seen rise a lot in popularity. Okay.
He also needs to be careful about Nibiru.
Absolutely. So Keras comes up, and if he's thinking about how many he wants to banish. So even if you just banish 2 and then go for the Appaloosa, you get the Revolt. It could be already good enough, but it seems like he's thinking about banishing 4 for the Omen. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we don't see that often actually in the very first turn. Yeah, maybe he just wants to prevent Matthieu from activating the Nibiru. What do you think? I mean, it's just
possible, but I mean, you do the same when you go for the Appaloosa, so it seems like he just wants to get more resources to the end. This way, he can use the Omen to get to his hand any of his monsters, and usually what you would see is, you know, I'm looking at the extra deck and he's playing only 1 copies of the others, which is something we have not seen, I gotta say, in the other deck list. So he's, but the space is there because of the Anaconda. So this decision could actually cost him quite a lot.
Yeah, extra deck space is for Jake very tight, so here comes the Berbram.
Yeah, and it's the only copy in his deck. So Omen comes down. If he goes instead, I was thinking about, you know, Rescue Cat, if he could maybe special summon it from the end. But I don't know if that's necessary, that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, because right now you're risking it. Okay.
Yeah, as mentioned, you get the Rescue Cat, and then he could have gone instead for a special summon from the end, which is my only concern. But he's actually activating the effect. Wow. So something we rarely see. So he activated the bear effect from the field. Discarding...
the Blue Eyes?
No, the Dark Magician probably. One of the... Yeah. Unfortunately, he got one of the pieces. And it's also surprising that he discards them. Since with this end, you could actually end on Appaloosa and the Red Eyes. So, for now, he gets the Nerval back.
Maybe he has a plan, let's see.
Yeah, so he uses the effect, banishing the cat and the Keras. But yeah, it seems like he's not super convinced on the line of play, which is something surprising when you think about Jake. Usually is one of those guys who play test just day and night, but maybe he's not that comfortable with his deck.
Yeah, I think best solutions would have been like Appaloosa, as we said, and he could have passed for the...
Especially because the problem now is also with the arrows, right?
Oh yeah.
So now he went for Bear Brum.
Yeah. Okay, now he goes with the Ancient Warrior Oath.
Yeah, so again, a link is thinking about how many he wants to link someone with. Could this be the Appaloosa? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, now he can go for the Appaloosa. Okay,
Yeah.
it comes the Appaloosa.
But it's only an Appaloosa with 2 materials, which is surprising to me. But now he will get the Revolt. I am slightly confused on this opening play from Jake, I have to admit. Like, keeping the Almirage is okay, because it can protect you from destruction if they have, like, Lightning Storm, for example. But was it really worth it? Because all that play with summoning the Omen and then getting back the cat, using the cat, I think was very confusing. And now he doesn't even have a card in his hand, so...
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things going on.
I gotta say, I'm slightly confused with this opening from Jake. Still strong, but absolutely not the ideal one.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things going on. Maybe Jake had so many options that... do you think he was like, I don't want to say confused, but maybe there's a lot of things going on?
Here we already see the Feel spell coming down and a normal summon from Matthieu. And Jake, I don't know, as mentioned, okay, he uses the Almirage to protect Appaloosa from being destroyed by card effects, but not by battle.
Yeah.
And now he flips the Revolt. So he goes for the Omen once again. Gonna try and banish his opponent Prankids.
Yeah, I think Jake wants to get rid of Matthieu monster and maybe hope that he doesn't have any other extender for this turn, but it's risky. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not the greatest, especially because now if they have a droplet, you just lose the game on the spot. So I don't know. It's definitely not much he could have done about this with the Dark Magician being drawn. This is one of the drawbacks, as you can see, of the Jake build. Now he's gonna try and link his chain link, but is there a droplet? No. Instead, there is a Pandemonium being chained. Decent, but not as good, of course. But it could still hurt quite a lot, yeah, because you can chain your Prankids in a way where the Appaloosa cannot negate one of them.
No, I think now the Pandemonium is okay, but I don't know, maybe Jake complicated things a bit.
So now he gets the rockets, and Jake can resolve all of his Tri-Brigades cards. Yeah, so he will send the Nerval and just get one back from next turn. Maybe the Keras, maybe again another copy of his monsters. But yeah, I'm getting a little worried because although, yeah,
okay,
yeah, so the chain seems like it's finally over, but Jake didn't add. Yeah, I think they're just thinking about all the different materials that were used, because now there would be a chain where the Nerval is there from Jake, and the 2 Prankids are there for Matthieu. And if Jake wants to activate the Nerval, it's actually quite strange, because then the Appaloosa would be chain blocked by his own card. So it's a strange decision here.
Yeah, I think they're just clarifying it, of course.
Yeah, it's a lot of chain links going on, so obviously when you are face to face is one thing. In here they are just trying to make sure they declare every single chain link in the correct order. But let's see. It's also a problem because when they resolve a fusion, then the fusion can attack over the Appaloosa since it only has 2 materials. While if Jake actually used the Freer, maybe that was safer. So I am worried about it.
We missed something because like Jake had a really good hand, although there was an Ash Blossom from Matthieu's side. But I think he could have done like the combo slightly different. I mean, the field setup is very good.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe Appaloosa could have been like at least 3.
Yeah. And now they're checking again because another chain link that could have happened was the field spell.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just making sure that everything is correct. Nothing to worry about, but it's just whether Jake will be able to negate one of the Prankids. As you can see here, Matthieu is declaring the correct order of his Prankids.
Yeah, because here Matthieu, he activated the...
And Jake is negating the second one of them with the Appaloosa. This is still tough for Matthieu, because if nothing else is there, then sure, you resolve one of the Prankids, but as soon as you will link someone, then the Appaloosa can just negate the other one. So let's see if Jake can still find a way to stay in this.
Yeah, now Jake's are still the Appaloosa and the Omen. I mean, it's good. Maybe... Yeah, really, what Matthieu really needs to do here is just to activate another card, because otherwise... Yeah, let's now see if he can maybe do something else here. Okay, comes the Fences. I think he could be able to continue to combo off, although Jake does only have the Appaloosa at the moment. He's now resolving his Tri-Brigade cards. He's now considering what to add, especially because in the next turn he will have other Link monsters to make.
Yeah, this gives him some potential power.
Yeah, I think here there's just making some clarifications still about what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as mentioned now, Matthieu needs something else, because if he goes for the Meow Meow, the last material of Appaloosa can be used to negate the Prankids, and I don't think he can afford to just pass play back to Jake, so... Hopefully for him he has something else up his sleeve, otherwise maybe we're heading into a game 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so as mentioned, he will go for the Meow Meow. And I would say, yeah, almost certainly we'll see the last material from Appaloosa come down. But the problem here is that you can chain block it with the field spell, which is what we are seeing here. By using the field spell as chain link 2, he can just chain block the Appaloosa and reduce his opponent monster. And now he gets to send
Yeah, I think now Matthieu has a chance to come back in the game.
Yeah, because the Appaloosa is only 800, so you can try and attack over it, and then find some solutions. Although the Omen is a little bit of a pain to deal with, because if you do, Jake gets another card from the deck. And if you don't, they can use the effect again next turn, so...
How's the Doodle do here?
Yeah. Again, he will try his best to block the Appaloosa. We'll see whether he decided to have his link negated. Most likely. So at the end of the day, the Appaloosa did a decent job. But I think he still gets to get maybe the Pandemonium, or if he already has it, the Pranks. Yeah. He gets the Pranks, which was the last missing piece. He can decide whether he attacks over something, then gets back 2, and with the Pranks sets up a Pandemonium. So, again, looking quite well for his opponent.
Yeah, we thought Jake could have dealt with the all Matthieu plays, but looks like he was able to come back into the game and it's not done yet. So, well played by Matthieu. Yeah, here he gets to draw a card for Roxy's effect, right?
No, because I think... Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So he's holding still into a lot of cards, and this is impressive. Like, when your opponent ends with a Revolt and an Appaloosa, you deal with the entire board, pretty much. And you still have what are 5 cards in hand thanks to the Doodle. So, some great stuff here from Matthieu.
Yeah, I think Prankits is a really impressive deck, and it's maybe underestimated in this format, but it's because like Tri-Brigade is the most popular one, but with just one card you can put up an incredible field, and Matthieu is showing us how good this deck it is, so...
And just as an information, they got 4 minutes of extra time because of the... mess with all the chain links that were going on, which would have confused any of us. So we are gonna add some to the timer, which means that if we ever see a game 3, there should be plenty of time to play it before timeout.
And now basically Matthieu can continue with the combo, because
yeah, again, his goal is to go for the Butler.
yeah.
Just like last game. And with the Meowing Grave, that's great, because you can basically have 2 Raigekis at your disposal. So, great stuff.
Yeah, I think this is what we are gonna see next from Matthieu, because... Okay, yeah, he entered battle phase.
Yeah,
so.
the Doodle attacks over the Appaloosa. Not that it did much, but it just pushes some damage off. Still holding into the Pranks, by the way, which technically you could use to go for, even the access code later on. But I think you just chill and use the Doodle. Get so much advantage back. Here you can get a Pandemonium and a Monster, for example.
Or quite impressive from Matthieu, and he has the Meow Meow as you mentioned earlier, so if he can put up a Butler...
Yeah, it's great. So let's see. So he does get the Pandemonium, and he does get one of his prank hits. Nothing to be surprised. He will activate the pranks. Probably not to get the token, not sure. It could be decent.
Yeah.
But surely in the end phase to just shuffle and draw. And yeah, let's see if he activates the first effect. I mean, it's not bad because you can get the Bow Wow down, for example. But I can see both ways being fine. Yeah, he does activate it. Makes sense, I think. So he gets the token, now he probably gets the Bow Wow down. The 1 copy. Yeah, no surprise. So Bow Wow comes down, he will set the Pandemonium. and shuffling 3 back.
I mean, what if played by Matthieu?
Yeah, what a turnaround. He even sets a second card to his back row. And now he will just be able to shuffle 3 back. Then during his opponent's turn, he can use the Bow Wow to get you back, activate the Pandemonium, summon the Butler, and he has double Raigeki available. So it's tough. And you can see Jake again being quite frustrated. He opened up strong. Maybe didn't do his best with what he had, but still ended with a quite a strong board. And one turn later, his opponent is still at 8,000, and he is down both on life points and on resources. So, again, if any one of you guys doubted Prank Kids, you can see here just how real of a deck they are. Now, crucial draw from Jake. This will be a close one.
Yeah, now I mean I would be scared if I were Jake. Because,
yeah, and Matthieu doesn't even hold. He immediately activates the Bow Wow. He doesn't want to give his opponent the chance maybe to trigger the Omen.
Yeah.
And he might even flip the Pandemonium soon enough. Let's see. He has to give back priority to his opponent. He will use the Nerval first effect to banish 2 or 3. Let's see how many he wants to banish.
Yeah, I mean, Jake
banish 3.
That the Butler is going to come soon.
Absolutely. But now he uses his effect and summon one of his cards. Willy tries to trigger its effect. Let's see. This is one of the crucial cards you see sometimes in the matchups, like against Sky Striker, which allows you to shuffle back the Ray. And it's the Desperate Doom Eagle we see on the field right now. I doubt that Prank Kids will have no Monsters in Grave, so we probably won't see the first effect, which double his attack, but it's annoying enough, especially against Prank Kids, who are a deck which use a lot its Grave.
Yeah, I think it's one of these cards that you can special summon when needed, and it's there in your extra deck, and also his first effect is nice when needed, so...
Okay. Again, Matthieu is holding, and Jake is going maybe for the access. What do you think? Yeah, he does go for the access. So this is the first access we see. And it's a powerhouse of a card, so it will gain 3000 attack because it was used with the Doom Eagle. And now he can actually destroy quite a few of Matthieu card, getting even the kit back to his hand. And we will see the Pandemonium. Yeah. Pandemonium comes down and yeah, he goes for what seems to be the Butler. Again, summoning 3 Prank Kids back from the deck as well, so tough times.
Very impressive here from Matthieu. It's not going to be easy for Jake, because now with the Butler, he's going to take a lot of advantage. Let's now see.
Yeah, just activates all of them. Which means, again, some life points swings. Yeah, you can see Jake does not seem too happy, nor too impressed, if I have to be honest, but maybe, again, he's just playing with us.
Yeah, I think he knew from the very first moment what he was up against, and I mean, if I were Jake, I would never be so super happy to play against Prank Kids in this meta game. It's very difficult to play against Prank Kids, especially because with only one card, as we said like before, it's very difficult.
Yeah, and now the Butler can just completely get a mess out of Jake monsters.
Yeah, I think Jake knows that. Yeah, I mean, he has. Okay.
But he allowed for the activation of access, and this can actually change the game significantly, because you cannot respond to it. So this would be game right away. But he destroys the pranks. And then he banishes the second link from the grave. To destroy the field spell.
Are you concerned why Matthieu didn't activate the Butler here, or I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's again a matter of priorities, because as you can see, guys, on the screen, you cannot respond to access code talker effects, which is why this card is so strong. And even in Salmon Great, a deck that we will see later on this weekend allows your opponent to just OTK with the update jammer easily. And now it seems like Jake has enough, and he will activate the Omen now that the Butler finally is able to activate his effect, destroying both. But he has enough now to search for a cat, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely an interesting game, and what I said earlier about the time is actually coming back, because there are only 9 minutes. I'm not sure whether the 4 minutes were already added. But yeah, it does get the rescue cat, and now the game is as open as it never really was up until this moment. And we do know that Jake is one of those players who really is going to take all the opportunities you give him. And yeah, it seems like he's now free to do whatever he wants, and this means that he can easily even find a way to OTK his opponent. So
yeah, very back and forth game here. I don't know, maybe Matthieu could have saved his spell cards before, but maybe he let Jake enter battle phase.
not
Not
sure.
sure.
It's tough to say from this point of view, but we will be able to understand it easily.
Is that Blossom?
Yeah. Again, the one copy.
Yeah.
He only plays one in his deck. So let's see. He uses his effect to special summon the kit. Okay. And he can now use the kit if he wants. I don't think he did it yet. So either to get an Omen down. So it's definitely a lot of damage Jake can push easily. So
I think Jake seems very comfortable here from his composure. Like he was, I don't want to say like upset, but now things have slightly changed in his favor. Especially because it's like free to special summon as many monsters as you want, so...
Yeah, and as mentioned now, Jake playing it really well. I mean, he's definitely one of the guys who can smell weakness from his opponent. And we can remember the future match against Joshua Smith. We gave him the World Championship title where he was down all the match, but then when it was close to timeout in literally the last second of the duel, he found a way to push enough damage to win in time and get to the World Championship. So Jake is definitely one of those guys who can get the advantage out of one of his opponent's mistakes. So
and now, yeah, okay, so he let Matthieu before he let Jake enter battle phase, okay. Yeah.
So unfortunately, this wasn't enough to for Jake to win, but they are both checking whether time remains, and yeah, Matthieu has seen enough. So in an incredible turnaround, Jake was able to come back and win game 2. So we are going already to game 3 in the first duel. Not gonna be an easy one for you guys. Jake does not want to give up his position that easily, and now things get interesting.
Yeah, what a game! I mean, we were not expecting this to happen, but right now, once again, we were talking that time is an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And while in the last game we told you guys that Matthieu is holding some spies and interesting choices in the side deck, both in the form of Solemn Judgment and a pointer of the Red Lotus, the big problem is that they both cost a high amount of life points. And if you're going first, that can be a high risk. So it's tough, and it will be a very important decision for Matthieu. To be honest, I don't hate it necessarily. Maybe you can take the risk and win in time, but it's a very close decision here. And I'm sure Jake, without knowing about the side deck choices, is the one who is afraid, because you really don't want to play in time against Prankids.
Yeah, I think they will start to play in like a minute or something, and considering that Prankids has a lot of things and a lot of combo. Yeah, I mean, I would be concerned if I were Jake. So, from Jake's side, going second, I think here maybe... Yeah, once again, Nibiru, maybe the Pancratops could go in.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, is going second side deck is definitely looking much better than the going first. There are a few things he can do, and even the DD Crow could be decent. It's definitely not a great card, but maybe... if they start things off with the Roxy sending the Pandemonium, you can banish it and they don't have a second copy. So I would definitely bring that card in. So let's see. It's gonna be a close one. Again, depending a lot on the time. And I got confirmation that the 4 minutes of extra time were already added to the clock. So the time you see on screen right now is the actual time remaining in the duel. Which means more than certainly... we're going to see a timeout in the first match already. So, what a way to start.
Yeah, I mean, we were not expecting a first match to be like this, but these two decks during this weekend will show us, hopefully, this action. And let's see now if Matthieu can open things up with a great end as game 1.
Yeah, and again, the thing is... the Prankid deck combos off quite well. So, outside of gaining life points, you also take quite some time to do your combos. So, let's see. 3 minutes remaining, and now it's all on Jake if he can draw any of his entraps to stop his opponent from comboing off. Let's see, it's now or never. Who is the first guy to advance to the top 8? And what a way to start. Pot of Desires from Matthieu. Already evening the advantage of going first. Jake is thinking hard about this.
Yeah, because when you usually activate Pot of Desires as first card, usually you maybe are lacking of key cards in your hand.
Yeah, but this is a great way to start. It seems like he has a lot of his disposal, and this is the normal summon Prankids. This is one of the most important time of the duels. Does Jake has an entrap to stop the Prankids? Or does he have the Parallel Exceed to chain block it? Let's see. Matthieu is checking his banished cards.
Does he have it?
And I think he might have the Parallel Exceed. No.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't activate the Prankids. Interesting. Maybe he wants to be safe and chain block it with the Doodle. And this is what's going on. So Monster Reborn showing up in 2021. And maybe giving Matthieu the play. Now, as mentioned, he's gonna chain block Jake with the Doodle. And I think Jake is not looking happy right now.
Well played by Matthieu.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes some courage. And the Ash Blossom was there. So what a way to start from Matthieu. Played really, really well. understood this position. He knows that the most important thing is to change that life point score. And he chain blocked the Ash Blossom, which would have been devastating from Jake. Now he can go just into another Doodle, most likely, and activate the other Prankids to gain life points and probably close the duel, because there is only 50 seconds remaining. Wow. You can see Jake shaking his head, and I believe that's going to be enough for him.
Yeah, I think Jake played well by not activating the Ash Blossom on the Desires, just waiting. But on the other hand, Matthieu knew that an Ash Blossom might have been there, so... Yeah, Jake not looking good, 20 seconds left.
Absolutely tough things, and Matthieu doesn't show any signs of slowing down. You can see Jake, unfortunately, laughing. Not much he can do in this kind of position. The life points, and there are only 5 seconds remaining. So I'm sure soon enough, our judges are gonna declare Matthieu as the winner. Time should be called any second, and if that's the case, that's it for our duelist. That is the case. Time has been called, and Matthieu should be declared our winner right now and right here. You can see Jake talking a little bit, but
it is how it is. Yeah.
Let's see if he can do anything. I don't think he does. So Matthieu is just continuing for whatever reason, but I think they're just gonna extend the handshake soon. Huh?
Okay, I think he's just finishing his turn.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta end the phase, so maybe they have some secret weapon, but it doesn't seem like that's what's going on. So he does use the Doodle, gets back 2 of his cards. Usual setup for the deck. Sets a few back rows, go and change the face. And yeah, I think this is the end of the duel.
Maybe here they're just making some clarification about the time that was extending earlier.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Just to be sure everything is fine before declaring the end of the match. Yeah, because now Matthieu is up in life points and Jake lost 500 as well, so I don't think there is nothing that he can do to come back into this game. Yeah, anyways, we were saying that this might have been a problem for every player playing against this this kind of deck. So when Prankins goes in the third game and there's only like a couple of minutes in the last turn, it's very difficult because like every single Prankins monster has this effect and you gain and lost life points and...
Yeah, we mentioned it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those extra bonus things you're really happy about in your deck. And we had a big idea of how the deck is just so strong before. But as mentioned, Matthieu just showing up really strong is our first winner for the first round of the Remote Duel TCG Invitational. Congratulations, Matthieu.